In Melbourne, I've given up on there being very many resources for the sorts of games that I'd like to work on. So I've shifted my concentration onto remote work and how I can do remote work and how I can make it easy for studios to hire me remotely. And it's something that I teach is, how to work remotely. And yeah, what drew me to it was that other countries just seem to have so much more funding and support, and whether it's just a cultural history value thing where they actually value arts compared to Australia, or their communities have done better at convincing their government that they are something to support. I don't know, but I'm after them rather than us. I've given up on here. I think that to say that there's a lot of funding for any arts is wrong. I think that there's a lot of funding for some companies, and you could say whether it's Opera Australia or the ballet or those sorts of places. And that's, it's not even a lot of funding. It's just much more than anyone else. To then go to, someone like Oz Council and say, that they've got lots of funding for all of the other arts compared to games is perhaps true. Yeah, sure. There's also a lot more people in those and people who are already doing interactive versions of those. So I think that part of the problem is that the people who own the games communities don't have a wide enough view of what games are. And then they give that view to funding bodies. It's quite easy to say, well, there's only a few of you doing it, which is wrong. I think that all of the arts should have more funding. I think that there should be more communication between emerging and fringe artists and funding bodies as to where the arts are actually going. I think that there's a really large reliance on proven case studies rather than a push to evolve or experiment in the arts, which is something that it's because of the government values, right? It's because that they don't actually value cultural and community development. They only value money. I think that the trend in our community isn't, it doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's a trend across the entirety of Australia where experimentation isn't valued, where cultural and community development isn't valued. It's all about just fixing things straight away. You just throw money at it and it's fixed. It's not about personal values or, just enjoying life. It's about economic outcomes. The only way that we can ever justify why something needs support is to justify it on an economic basis. So no, I don't have any answers to how we can help fix it on our end. I abandoned ship, run away. I'd like to be a hermit if I could, a hermit with NBN. There are not enough people who want to help or feel that they can. So when you do try and help, you get burnt out pretty quickly. And I think that, a big part of that is, that we have to align values on that sort of level instead of embracing everyone's diverse values and the reasons that they have them. I feel burnt out. I feel no attachment to the games industry. Communities are different. An industry often feels like a really large shadow over communities that tries to push them back down.